Say anything.
Why can't you just say anything?
I'm gonna say anything.
People just say anything.
I swear, people just say anything. Welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. Well, hello there, and welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. I am Keena B. Thank you so much for returning. If you are joining us again, and if you are joining us for the first time, I hope you enjoy today's show. So no matter what time of day you are listening, I appreciate you. Today, we will have a special guest, singer, entertainer, vocalist, songwriter, actress, Lili Forbes. And she will be talking to us about her music career, how it began, and where she hopes it goes in the future. So you stick around for that. We will also have our comedy minute, and some funny things have been happening in the world, and we love to laugh about it. So stick around.
The holiday season is fast approaching, but anytime is a good time to show a loved one how much you care. At WMBS Market, we specialize in local and global artwork. Find spectacular work by Zambian modern artist Ringo Bryant's Chilashay, Florida ceramist Gloria Nicholson, and naturalist painter Lily M. Clark. Alternative payment options are available on select artwork. Located at 23 North Madison Street, Quincy, Florida, in the historic downtown area. WMBS Market. Come for the culture, return for the connection.
And we are back. Thank you for returning. And now for our comedy minute. Now, I realized that the price of groceries was going up and increasing, but never in my wildest dream did I think that a banana could go for $6.2 million. But that's exactly what happened. A couple of weeks ago, roundabout, an artist sold his piece, and it was a banana duct taped to a wall. And then the buyer resold the piece at an auction, and it went for $6.2 million. A couple of things about this. I actually have no problem with the artist whatsoever. Art is very much in the eye of the beholder, the end user, as I'd like to say. So if someone puts a banana on a wall and says that it is art, then it is art. What is much more funny to me is the art is probably, for me, less about the actual banana and more about the practice of consumerism. The art is in the fact that somebody actually purchased it for $6.2 million. A banana in a time when people are having a really hard time going to the grocery stores and getting groceries that cost reasonable prices based on their earnings. And here it is that someone can afford to, for lack of a better term, piss in the wind. $6.2 million. I know, that's a bit vulgar, but they did. They literally just threw some money up and said, hey, here's $6.2 million for a banana. And to be clear, it is an actual banana. It's not a fake banana duct taped to a wall. It is a banana that you could have went down to Piggly Wiggly or Publix or H-E-B or Kroger, whatever your local grocery store is, your local bodega, whatever it is, your corner convenience store that sells a light produce, and you could have bought a banana. That's what this person did. They went and they bought a banana, and then they put it on a wall, and they duct taped it. So they probably spent less than $10, maybe, and someone spent $6.2 million. I mean, doesn't it say something about the free markets and consumerism? So many levels to that. So many things to think about. But kudos to the artist. You know, I personally would like to say I have a few food items that I can sell and I will be happy to duct tape it to the wall for anyone. I have some grapes. We can go get some apples. We can make a whole fruit salad, and duct tape it to a wall if you like. And it's going for a great rate of $6.2 million. And now my interview with Lili Forbes. All right, thank you for joining us. Today we have Miss Lilita Johnson, and I hope I gave her name justice, who has her latest EP is called I Won't Hold Me Back. Just a little bit about her. From what I found, she is a graduate of FAMU, Florida Agriculture and Mechanical University. She has written and produced 6 albums. She is a twin, married with children. Her husband is Mr. Andre Forbes. And she has some awards under her belt, including the Caribbean Gospel Music Marlin Awards and a CMG Award for Vocal Performance of the Year for the title track Never Bitter from the project Maggie Never Bitter by Todd Shotwell, which I believe is a play. Is that correct? Yeah. Yes. Awesome. But that's not all. That's not all. Everyone, she is an author. She is a lyricist. She is a composer. She is a vocal coach, teacher, and a worship leader. And a member of the Soul Collective Live. Can you tell us about the Soul Collective Live? What is that?
Oh my goodness. So the Soul Collective Live are 3 individual artists. Deanna Squeaky Miller, Vonzel Deshawn, and then we have Joshua Rivers or J Riv Music. And we are a collective. We come together as a collective to perform music of the African diaspora. So that's anywhere from jazz to soul, also Caribbean music. We have been together for about 5 years. Mm-hmm. And then we have a new generation member who's Alexander Williams and Shawnice Richards. So we are just a collective of musicians that all have the same vision and heart and love for music with excellence. And we're there to support each other. And that's who we are.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I was listening to your song earlier today. I was listening to a few of them. I was trying, getting a vibe for the type of music that you produce. And immediately what came to my mind, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because it feels like you have a good grasp for a lot of different genres of music, but that you lean heavy kind of into more soothing styles of music, which made me think of India Arie, Tracy Chapman type of vibes. Am I correct or incorrect? Can you tell me more about?
You are absolutely correct. I lean towards the folk, the music of positive energy and music that soothes and heals. So that's what I lean more towards.
I love that. I definitely love that. I said, I want to listen to everything now. I particularly like your use of the guitar, and I realized that in prior conversations we've had, I now know that you play the guitar. Do you play any other instruments?
Beside my voice?
Besides your voice, yes.
I do frequent the percussion. So congas, djembes, I frequent those. I don't often have an opportunity to play those, but anytime that I can, I will hop up on a percussion instrument, claves, the tambourine, anything percussive. I frequent that, and I also frequent the recorder. Many people kind of shun the recorder because it's not the popular flute.
Wow.
But I used to be in a woodwind ensemble in my early music experience. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so tell me how.
Oh my goodness.
Tell me how you got into music. Like, I was reading your bio, and you started singing with your sister, who is also your twin, around 12. What made you all say, yes, we want to start singing?
So our parents, my dad, he's actually a guitarist. He does lead guitar, piano, organ. He was just texting me the other day about a video that I posted, and he was talking about wanting to be on the organ again. But I watched him for many years play. And then my mother, she was a part of the choir. I grew up in the Seventh Adventist Church. And I was always exposed to choral music. But it wasn't until this local competition, one of our mentors, they kind of whispered in my mom's ear, hey, see if they would do it. And however magic my mother worked, we signed up for the competition because we thought it was going to be fun. We're like, hey, yeah, let's do it. It's going to be fun. And then if we win, we get to go to South America, Curacao, and then we can compete there. And little did we know, when we came in first, we placed on the island of St. Martin, and then we went to Curacao and we brought home the gold.
Oh, wow.
It just took off from there because less than a year later, we were working on our first EP or cassette. The cassette was a collection of cover songs, and that became so popular that we quickly became a household name in my region, which was
wow.
And so by the time we were 15, we were already what you would consider top charting. Our music was on rotation 24 hours.
That's amazing.
Radio stations.
Now, you and your sister, do you have a group name?
We're known as the Johnson Sisters.
Okay, so it was the Johnson Sisters. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Johnson Sisters, and then we changed our name to Jumelle, which means French for twin.
For twin.
We did that early 2000s. We were encouraged, if we were going to branch out of the Caribbean market into other markets. We were encouraged to kind of adjust our name. So we were like, okay, the Johnson Sisters, a.k.a. Jumelle. And so that's how we became Jumelle.
That's awesome.
So we went through a lot of name changes.
What are some other ones that you tried?
Well, when I say official, so name changes as far as what to do with the Johnson Sisters, not letting that go, right? Because it was a household name. So it was like TJS Jumelle. So the Johnson Sisters, TJS, and then Jumelle. We tried that. But forever, the Johnson Sisters just stuck because there were generations, like 2 generations, I would say, of fans, from when we were teenagers, our fan base, and then their parents. And then when they got older, they let our music be listened to their kids. And even to this day, I got a message. Somebody sent me a picture that's like, hey, where can we find this song? And I was like, okay, it's on YouTube. And she's like, don't worry, somebody help me find it. And so this is someone who was playing our music for her kids. And so, yeah, and it was really hard to move away from that because we were always known as the Johnson Sisters, to the point where our music were being featured in schools. One school in the Caribbean, they even adapted one of our songs, Believe, as part of their school song, as their school song.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the legacy that you and your sister have, that is amazing. That is, I mean, to be in cross-generational, it is hard sometimes for generations to connect with, the different types of styles of music. But once you become cross-generational, I mean, you're cemented. Why let go of the name? You are the Johnson sisters.
Well, that's why, my sister and I, we were talking about, we were celebrating our 33 years in music.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat down and was like, you know what? It's been 33 years, and let's, go back to what we're known as. And so we're actually working on releasing our anniversary compilation album, and we're titling it The Johnson Sisters.
Fantastic.
In the morning, The Johnson Sisters. And my sister, she put the little tag at the bottom. She can't let go. Jumel, like she has.
Oh, because they're both beautiful. Yes.
So instead of Jumel, aka the Johnsons, she's like the Johnson Sisters in small print, aka
Jamal. That is beautiful, though.
It's so hilarious. I was like, okay, cutie. I call my sister Cutie. I was like, all right, I see what you're doing. Because both names became very popular. The Johnson Sisters from the 90s all the way up until the 2000s, and then 2000s through now you have Jumel. So there's like different generations that are familiar, and many people don't realize we are the same group. So.
Oh, okay. But I think that's amazing, though. And one day, though, don't tell them. Maybe you'll get double the plays, triple the plays. Never tell them. Okay, it sounds like you guys are made for this. You're built for this type of. And then it started out as fun too. So it was a natural gift that you had, but you took the opportunity to fine tune that gift. Talk about that.
Well, I think that was inspired by our first mentor in music. His name was Glenn. He was the choral director for our church choir. And he pointed out to my mom that, we had an innate gift for recognizing parts. Like we would sing all the parts, and then we had teachers. Again, my woodwind ensemble teacher, she was an amazing artist, and then my second grade teacher. They all inspired me to want to pursue and learn more about the craft that I was singing. So I wanted to study music. And then I wanted to be a teacher to be able to teach it as well. And so with that, my mom, she also instilled, preparing and training our voice. So we always went through the process of training, and it has always stayed with us. And when you hear things in your head, you're like, you want to know what you're hearing. I didn't know what to call, a B flat major, what it was, a triad and all this other stuff. I didn't realize, when we're harmonizing, singing, I wanted to know what it was. And so I pursued music to really understand and practice my music well. And so that's where that came about. So I studied at Florida A&M University, or FAMU, choral music, and I minored in theater. So I've been in a few plays, musicals at FAMU. While I was at FAMU, I participated in a few of them. One was really a cool one, was Crowns. We did that even after I graduated, we came back and did that. Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope was my first official play at FAMU. And then and then of course away from the university, in the community, I've also acted.
So what do you like more, singing or acting, or both?
Both, actually. There's no, because musical theater is something that I truly have a passion for. I gravitated more to musical theater. And so when I got the opportunity to compose for musicals and write for musicals, even plays with music, that's something that I just truly, truly enjoy. It's such a passion for me to do.
Of all of your accomplishments so far, we know that you still have so many more to attain. Which ones bring you the most joy?
Ooh, wow. That is a hard question. Because I would, when we say, and we talk in music.
In music.
In music. I think most of it did bring me joy, but honestly, Underground the Musical has brought me immense joy because it has taken me, and it is written by Akil DuPont, who is a local Tallahassean, and it started as his film, his final film project before he graduated from FSU School of Music. Akil is amazing, and so working with him on that initial project, and it received several student Emmys. And then years later, for him to call me and say, hey, I want to make this a play with music. I want to add music to this script. And 36 songs later, from 2010 all the way up until now, we are preparing. It's Broadway bound, as we would say. Right now, it's being prepared for the Hamptons. And it was such an amazing accomplishment to be able to receive an award for the New York Theater Festival. That brought me immense joy, even through that process of getting it there. Because, from the Atlanta Theater Festival to the New York Theater Festival, being there in New York, seeing it on stage, that was one of the most rewarding things. Because it was everything that I love about music coming together, like the storytelling of our story. In the Caribbean, one of my mentors, she's like, it's we story, not his story, right? Having we story being told by we.
Yes.
We want it told. And then having others be able to relate to it and connect to the stories of this hero. And then the music that was poured into it were the elements of who we are, from the diaspora, from Africa to America to the Caribbean. The sounds that is truly us, the jazz, the soul, the blues, the Caribbean, the hip hop even. It's all in that musical. And I think to be able to have that from a film onto a stage that is Broadway bound, and that is an amazing accomplishment. And the fact that we did it in such a short period of time, and we're talking 2010 and we're in 2024, people might say, that's, a long time. No, not for a lot of musicals that have developed to the point where it is, and for the content of, and so that for me is such an amazing accomplishment.
I love the point that you made. I love the point that you made about the time frame, because people do see things that take, decades to come to fruition and think, oh, that's such a long time, because they have, the short-sightedness of everything has to be right now. But to go through a process like you have and develop something and make it pristine, that's amazing. And I can see how that would bring you joy. It speaks to your resilience. Can you speak like what it takes to be resilient when you're developing something like a play or composing music?
Being able to connect to the source, the writer. A lot of times people don't know how to separate themselves from something in order to pour, like when working with Akil and I'm seeing this story, I had to really understand who he was and where his mind was going, right? That, and then taking that idea, taking those words and connecting to the characters, each of them, because each of those characters have their own story, creating that backstory, finding out who they were, the time period that the play took part in, going there, traveling there took a lot of emotional and mental resilience, because I had to revisit and a place that America had been and slowly coming out of, if you from different, or even the world itself. And researching other films like Uncle Tom's Cabin, that was in itself a really tough journey. I'm thought like, hey, I love history. I've studied history for a long time, European history, American history, Caribbean history. So I'm very versed when it comes to world history. But being able to delve into what it felt like, you know, what chain gang means, or what the different types of slavery was, what children and women and fathers and mothers had to go through, and how they were able to make it out, and how they were able to survive that through music, through the oral traditions, passing on things from generation to generation. That entire thing, you know, that in itself taught me patience, grace, you know, understanding and empathy, you know, because I come from a Caribbean background, right? The Black American or the Black experience is not something that was truly known or understood by me, because my culture is like, when someone asks where you're from, I'm from St. Martin. And then it's like, but who are you? I'm a St. Martiner. To come here, and when you're hearing different definitions of culture and class and identity, who people identify themselves with, I'm African American, I'm Black, I'm Hispanic, I'm, you know, brown, I'm all these different, to really be able to understand and empathize with that experience would have taken me to research, to really be true. So the music that I created had to be true to the voices that were on that paper, right? And so that's a level of patience, grace, forgiveness, goodness, because you know, we didn't live that, but we're trying to be true to that experience and put it out there, so the audience, when they see it, it inspires them, it changes their perspective. It gives them a level of respect and understanding, but not be contrary to what propaganda or all this other stuff is now infiltrating in the world today. You know, that's a true experience. You can't disregard it.
I love your take on the diaspora. It resonates with me. I've been having the conversation lately with particularly Black women of all backgrounds. And most recently, I had a young woman who's going to move to the Gambia. And she was speaking how people really just don't even want to be labeled anymore by, well, race is a construct, but you know, they just don't want to have to carry the weight of what each label means. And I can imagine that having to go through the history and the different layers that are within a story such as the underground, that it can kind of get tricky in there.
It's a branding that people are trying to walk away from, because when it comes to our ancestors, many of them were branded. In order for you to belong to this particular person, you were branded. And I think people are trying to walk away from the brand because it's not who they identify as. And that's a tricky thing in the world. But the synopsis of Underground, it's a father who it's taken in the 1600s, I believe, in the South. He is a slave. He is, his daughter is also with him on the plantation. his wife and her mother are no longer with them, and he's determined to free her from slavery. And they meet many characters on their way to freedom. And it's about the story being narrated, and it's told. So the generation today is the person who's telling the story is talking to her granddaughter, and she's telling the story of Amala and her father.
Thank you for that. Talk to me about your EP, I Won't Hold Back. What inspired that?
So, as the Johnson sisters, you know, we are two individual artists, and back in 2015, I thought, you know what, let me see, you know, let me kind of do my own thing, because my sister, she was already doing her own thing, and I decided I was going to do a project, because I really ultimately want to write for other artists. And so I wanted to put together some songs, but I wanted to put together sounds that were meaningful to me. I wanted to put me on this particular project. And so I Won't Hold Me Back is the theme song. The song itself really is an ode to musicians, singers, artists, that it's really saying, stop with the excuses. You don't need anybody's permission to own the stage or to be on the stage. The only thing that ever keeps us back from accomplishing anything is ourselves. And I really had to take a hard look as to the why. Why haven't you moved forward with your music? Why haven't you finished that book? I was finding all kinds of reasons. And so that song was me facing myself and saying, hey, you may have great reasons, but what else is holding you back? What do you have in your hand, right? If you were given a gift, use it. And if you didn't have your voice, like for instance, me, I struggled with nodules, vocal nodules, and other health issues. And so I had to really think hard, like, what if I didn't have my voice? Well, I was reminded that you have your hands. You have a pen, you can write.
That's beautiful that you naturally thought of this, because that was actually going to be my next question. So thank you. Continue, please.
So the song made me take a great look. And I thought about my students, people who have coached, people that, you know, they have everything, but it's like, what is it that's keeping them from moving to the next level? And I always encourage my students that if you look at yourself in the mirror and you come to terms with you, if you can get over yourself, there's nothing that can hold you back. Measure your success is not based on how others see you. Your success really doesn't matter at all. What you see is what you get. It's what you give is what you get. What you tell yourself is what you receive, you know, and if we can't exclude ourselves from that equation, we are also human. We also have spirits. We also have mind. And if we tell ourselves that we can't do something, then we're the ones holding ourselves back. But if we constantly meet ourselves and talk to ourselves and say, no, I can do all things. I can accomplish this because I have everything that I need to do it. I have it in my hands. Right? I have two hands. I have two eyes. I have two ears. I have two legs. I have more than enough. And I've been given more than enough. The Creator has given me everything that I need. I just have to take the time to do the work. And so that's what that whole EP is about. It's also me connecting to my home, right? Not being in St. Martin anymore. My grandmother, she was someone that I really cherished. And, you know, after she passed, you know, the day I was leaving to go back, to come back to the States, St. Martin is a very beautiful island, but it's very unique in the runway. So I'm getting on the plane, and when you get on the plane, you're not inside, you're outside. So you can actually see the ocean because the beach is right there by the runway. separated by a fence and a road. And so as I'm walking on to the plane, I look back and I hear the sounds. The wind was blowing. I'm smelling the air, the sea salt. It was like my grandmother was like, thank you for coming home. And so I started thinking about our relationship with the elements in the Caribbean and places that are close to the sea. The hurricanes, the tornadoes, the things, the weather itself that is so volatile. You just never know what's going to happen, but yet we're still connected and we stay there, you know, or we come back, we rebuild every single time. So the song Home was the song that I felt would work well with I Won't Hold Me Back, because it reminded me of how connected we are to the place to our source, you know, to the place that we were born, place that we were raised. No matter how far we go, you know, our connection to the sun, sand, sea, salt, all these things were all in this one song. So the melody, as I was getting on the plane, dropped in my spirit, and I started writing the song as we took off. And it's like where the sky and sea collides. Oftentimes the sky and sea seem to collide. You know, it's like
Wow, you're constantly making songs. I can tell you, because even with your words, like as you speak, it's like the poet that you're always just speaking it out. We have about a minute and a half left.
Okay.
Tell
Awesome.
the audience where they can find all of your work.
Well, you can find me mainly on YouTube. I've created playlists on my channel. If you type in anywhere, I'm Googleable, LILIFORBES, that's Lili Forbes. If you Google Lili Forbes, you're going to pull up my Instagram, you're going to pull up my YouTube and my Facebook. There are videos where it's just me and the guitar. You can pull up my worship music, my inspirational music, me as a griot telling stories with my friends, ETA, that's the Essential Theatrical Associates, and Lily Mo, so my friend Monica and I. So on YouTube, that's the base. You can find it, but you just put my name in Google, it'll pull up all my music. And of course, I'm on all the mainstream music that you could see anywhere on Spotify, anywhere you put in Lili Forbes, you'll find me. And my long name, Lilita. Thank you for having me. This was a real wonderful conversation. I appreciate you, speaking with me.
I appreciate it too.
That was Miss Lili Forbes, Lilita Forbes, also known as the Johnson Sisters, and she can be found on iTunes. A lot of her work is on iTunes, on YouTube. It's beautiful music. Go out there and listen to her work. She is always performing and has several things coming up in December where she will be performing. So go, as she says, Google her, check her out. I appreciate y'all for being here today and listening and tuning in. Share, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me what you want to talk about, what you want to hear about, and maybe we'll be able to plan for it for the future. And next week, look for a new podcast. Thank y'all, and have a great day. Remember to say that thing that you need to say.